Hey, it's the Sunday sermon. It's a little bit later than normal. Coach Tim went to bed a little late last night. I want to share with you a couple thoughts, and these are, of course, the Sunday sermon is ideas on team building that are really can be generalized into our everyday lives and really should be. So today I want to ask you, are you worthy of leading your team? And so when I install values into a team, there's a integrity issue there because a lot of times as coaches we come from an authoritarian position. We're the authority. So are we worthy of being that authority, right? Because authority carries a lot of weight with it. We know the Milgram experiments from Stanford. We give into, I think they call it, we give into agency on this, on authority. In fact, I think Chase Hughes is coming out with a whole book on this subject, and I'm looking forward to it. Another friend, somebody I had interviewed, had done the same thing. David Barron did the same thing, a talk on agency and authority and how we give into it. So it carries a lot of responsibility, and I don't think enough people realize and embrace the responsibility. So I ask you, are you worthy of those that you lead? Okay, and this is not a some self-esteem rah. Yeah, I'm worthy. I have self-worth, and I'm worthy of that girlfriend or wife of mine. I don't mean that. Okay, on one level, yeah, you do, but on the other level, are you really? Do you really have worth? Do you really have value that you're giving to a team? And I already did it. I generalized it to your wife, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your husband, your kids. Are you worthy of your kids? Are you leading them? Do you abuse your authority? And I'm not just talking about, you might hit them or something like that. I mean, all the cliches and normal things that we hear in society as no-nos as a parent. I don't mean that. I mean, from a value system, because as a coach, I have to install certain values, but when it's their own idea and it's coming from their own motivational system, they're doing it for their reasons, not for mine. Okay, now I'm out of my ego. Now I'm out of, as I was taught by my buddy Scott Morrison, I'm out of that transactional type of coaching, and I'm into that transformational type of coaching. I'm not doing it for me. I'm just the conduit. I'm just the leader. I happen to know this stuff, and so I'm going to lead you so that from your system of values, from your system of motivation, you're going to acquiesce to the best way to get something done. Now, if I need you to trap block, I need you to trap block, okay? And so that kind of doesn't have a lot of choice built into it, right? You have to, if you're a guard, you have to pull from the left over to the right, and it is what it is. It's a trap. You're not going to pass block on a trap play, right? That is where I think people get stuck, because what is your system of knowing that it's on two or it's on first sound? Some people have a system. Now, as coaches, we can give, a system. I know one friend of mine on the East Coast who teaches his O-line. He says, there's 2 or 3 things you have to ask yourself after we break. What's the play? What's it on? And what's my assignment? Who am I blocking? And so that's one way to remember. The way I began to remember as I went forward, because it was more reactionary, it was more in my body, is I wouldn't even be in my head. I would just tell my body, do what you're supposed to do. And it sounds so weird, but I just learned to trust myself that way. And I'm sure some of the better guys in the NFL probably do similar things where they're not thinking, right? Because you don't have time to think. You have to play fast. Jim Mora told me years ago when he went into some playoff game in the NFL how he only went in with a couple defensive packages because he wanted his players to play fast. He didn't want them having to worry about are they doing the right assignment. So there's always a fine line between building the collective and teaching the assignment and the values as a team ethic, as a team value, but also as from the individual's standpoint. When Kenrick Cleveland, I interviewed him, he talked about his criteria model, which he really uses for sales. I mean, he teaches people to use this model, and they make millions, hundreds of thousands, and companies have made millions upon millions of dollars using a system. It's essentially asking people what's important to you, and doing it in a way so that it pulls out their actual motivation. What's important to you? Money? Maybe not. Right? So he digs deeper, and there's a whole model on that, and you can get that at SoundCloud.com/Tim O'Keefe. There's tons of great stuff in there that I get a lot of these guys to open up and give information that people have paid a ton of money to get consultations from these guys. So again, there's a fine line, and not understanding that the individual is operating on his own motivational system. A lot of us don't know that some guys are, they're starting from words. Some guys are starting from pictures in their head, videos and pictures. Other guys are starting from their body, kinesthetic, sensate. As an athlete, I was a pretty good athlete back in the day. I was very sensate, very kinesthetic, very in my body. I hated meetings. I hated film time, because it was not. I'm still not sure why I hated it so much. It wasn't as compelling to me as being on the field and actually learning it. And I think part of it was, and this is what I'll leave you with. The way we experience things on a simple level is through associated or dissociated. Oftentimes when we're looking and remembering. So think about if you've ever been on the freeway and you're looking across, and you can do this in northern LA as you're going by Magic Mountain. You can see there used to be, I think they tore it down, I'm not sure, but Colossus, giant roller coaster. And you drive by, and I remember as a kid, we'd jump up and down. When are we going to go to Magic Mountain, right? Because we're going up to my grandma's and going to be bored for 2 days, right? We found stuff to do. We weren't that bored, but we were compelled by Magic Mountain. So we were seeing it from the freeway, which is like a couple miles away, probably. And that's a dissociated. We're not in the moment. But think about actually being in the moment, associated, going up Colossus, and we've all been there where we're going up the hill. As it's clanking to the top of the hill, and this was a wood roller coaster, so I had that just really cool, real smooth sound. And then you reach the top, and you feel the gravity, right? And you're looking down, and you're, maybe, especially if you're in the front seat, it's just you, right? Nothing better than that. And you're looking down, and there it is, and you're going straight down, and then you just start feeling it. You start feeling it, and okay, you're in that moment, and you might have felt it a little bit right there. That's associated, okay? And so we all do this where we go in and out, and certain great athletes have certain strategies or recipes that they'll use in a certain combination to get what they need to be getting done. Baseball players might, walk up to the plate and visualize, hitting whatever it is their outcome is, hitting it out to left field, putting it over the fence or whatever, and they visualize the ball spinning very slowly and being put right where they want it, and connecting to the bat, and feeling the crackle of the bat as it hits the ball, and their body swinging, right? And they're not even up at plate yet. So they get to the bat, to the box, and and they've already have rehearsed it. And a lot of times, great athletes will model other great athletes. They'll look at what this guy does or gal does, internalize it into themselves through visual means, associated, dissociated, uh, what they call submodalities, which is up close, bright, far away, right? Usually bright and close. They're very compelling to us. So if you're ever like really scared to death of something, make it far away and dark, right? Because it's probably going to make it the intensity of it lower. And everybody's a little different. It doesn't always work that way. But then the other thing is we also have other modalities in us, right? Other senses. So we see, we hear. So we might hear words. We might hear something very motivating coming from behind us, and maybe it's the coach telling us something really motivating that we like, or our parents, or our loved ones in real life, our boss, and you just hear that voice as something he said that was really good to you. Um, we might use words ourselves and talk to ourselves, right? We also have the feeling. I talked about that a little bit a second ago. We might experience something through our body, which is more compelling to us than, say, seeing it. We also, which is not as prevalent, we use our nose and our taste, and so you might actually, a football player, you actually will, in the old days, and it seems like you don't have grass fields anymore, but you could smell the grass juices and the mud, and a lot of times you could taste it. You could taste the blood, right? And how you put all these together with those submodalities and so forth, and the motivations, that's what makes you uniquely you, right? And so if you're going to try to take a kid or a wife or a girlfriend and put them into your box, you're probably not going to be as motivating as you could be. And so this is what I'm telling you, if you're going to lead, are you worthy of that leadership? Have you dealt with your own shit? Have you dealt with your own values? Do you know what you stand for? If you're a football coach and say, yeah, I stand for winning. Oh, dear God, let me know so I don't send any kids your way. Okay? And I'm not against winning. I'm all for winning. I love winning. But just saying that without a recipe to get there is a recipe for disaster, and it's probably a recipe that's built on the edifice of the temple to your ego, with all due respect. So that's it. It's a long sermon. Church went long today. Sorry about that. Hey, Tim O'Keefe, Coach Tim, Spider Juice Technologies. Enjoy.